Hi, everybody, and welcome, Corinne, my beautiful sis-star.
Sis-Star, yes.
Yeah, sis-star. One exceptional sis-star out from the cosmos itself, right?
Yeah.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to today's live with you. It's Wednesday, October 16th, 2024, and you are watching Cosmic Guardians Sis-Stars show with host Anne and Corinne, like usual on Wednesday. So we are so happy to be here with you all again. And I'm in awe for each and every time I announce the date. Boy, we are in the middle of October.
Well, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, almost. So today we're going to talk about something very intriguing: shadows to sunshine, transforming negative thoughts into positive perspectives. And what are shadows? And how could we explain that sunshine that shines on the shadows, right? It is intriguing. And of course, don't be shy, guys. We take your questions in the chat rooms underneath the videos. So we are going live on YouTube and here on Cosmic Guardians page, as usual. Last show on Cosmic Guardians was Bob Eden, the Spiritual Mechanic Show, with hosts Bob, myself, and Corinne. So we're three, yay! And we talked about when the crying stops, you will be free. So how you need to do certain things, right? Like getting the plug out, allowing yourself to feel things and to cry because it is natural, right?
Hmm.
Our last show on Cosmic Sister Show was with me and Corinne, welcoming special guest Adelina. That was Wednesday, October 9th, sorry, in the US, and Saturday, October 10th in Australia. And we talked about Masaru Emoto's Odyssey, the sacred dance of water, plus one lady, Veda Austin. They have done an incredible work. Of course, Mr. Masaru Emoto was the one starting it all, right? But water is so significant, and we are contained of water. So how about that?
Yeah.
We respond, therefore, to a lot of things.
Hmm.
If you missed our last shows, any one of them, or anyone else even older, you want to catch up with past episodes, and I repeated myself. I'm sorry. I have a cold today, so I'm always now I'm mending and healing and doing some things. There are things I need to do, right? You can connect with us and read more about us and find out everything about us, every link, how to find Corinne, me, Bob. It's on angelplaceonearth.com/cosmic guardians. So that's kind of an easy place to go.
Yep.
We always go live at facebook.com/cosmic guardians. That's on the page. And on youtube.com/at angel place on earth. So I'm always talking too much, right? Blah, blah, blah.
Important stuff. Important stuff.
So let's dive into today's topic. I'm intrigued.
Oh, I am too. Now, I want to tell you, boys and girls, welcome to Earth 101. To complete your PhD on living in the human body, we will be learning about emotions and what causes them, how they feel, and how they change and how you change them. During this time, however, some of them may get stuck and remain, and they will irritate you at the most inconvenient times. Okay, now take out your workbook and let's begin. Oh, by the way, I thought when I came to Earth that it was going to be sunshines, margaritas, and playtime. I never thought shadows were going to be anything other than to block out the sun every now when it was too hot. Well, next time I will read the fine print. So, welcome to shadows, and they're not as bad as they seem, but they can certainly give you a run for your money.
Exactly. Because it's so easy to have our attention on what's wrong out there, right?
Yep.
And then it's harder because it's challenging us to a very deep level when our own stuff are coming up, right?
Correct.
But it's fully worth it. It is worth it.
Yes.
No matter what, it is worth it.
It is worth it. And our shadows are what referred to as the things about, maybe things about our personality that we don't really want to address. Maybe they're perceptions that someone else gave us about how we should act. Maybe they are come from a trauma or come from ancient past memories, but they linger. They linger. Where they get challenging is they come up and influence something that you're trying to do in the present moment. And these are not, like I said, they can also be that we are afraid to be brave, afraid to be courageous, afraid to be creative. These can also act as shadows that kind of stop us from doing something. And I've been playing with my shadows this week, and it's been interesting.
I think we always play a little bit. It's not like we work on something and okay, I'm done now. I'm ready.
Oh,
I'm
no.
done. No, some things are not as deep. Other things are very deeply rooted and they come up like you peel an onion, right? The famous
Hmm.
old onion. And I think that is a blessing, but it means also that each and every time we're digging deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper until the point when it does not come up for us any longer.
Yep. Well, I had just last night, just to practice this, I decided to play with my shadow, and I'm coming into the computer world very slowly, but I have this hidden fear that if I print something, I will lose it. So in my haste last night, I was saving, printing, and then my computer decided it was going to do its own thing, and everything that I was doing one way couldn't be done. So I go into this, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? Am I going to lose it? And in reality, after I got through all of this and went through all of the, oh, what am I going to do? How am I going to get it done? I finally knew that it was saved. So I had the written word and I go, okay, turn my computer off. Well, later that night, I turned the computer on and the computer had adjusted itself. So all of my self-imposed, you know, fear and frustration um, flared up and said, yeah, I'm still here. I'm going to remind you every now and then, but you're going to make it.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that we always make it, but it's like everybody else, we have our areas of fear, right?
Hmm.
Because maybe it's something new we are doing, something we are not really feeling that I'm very confident in doing this thing, right? Everyone has it. I know where I'm not confident. I used to be, but I'm not going with a bike. Yeah,
Excuse me. That
yeah,
yes,
that was funny.
that got me all choked up. You know, but just like as we spoke before about the yin and the yang, these thoughts that we have put in the background that we have to address every now, they also keep us in balance. But
Yeah.
learning how to incorporate them and say, we can live together. We can do this because this is part of what makes us strong. And when they do come up, just identify that you're having a shadow day, and kind of go with it. And anything that you do when you remove the fear and changes that we make within ourselves don't really need to be fearful. Yes,
No.
we're going to have to put the work in. We're going to have to live, it's not easy, but rather than going into it, well, the whole world is going to crash around me if I venture into this, and trusting your intuition. So, you know,
Yeah, exactly. Trusting your intuition. Here we go again. The bike. I couldn't hold myself without joking. I'm the jokester. But I think that, um, as you said in the beginning, sorry, we didn't actually come here because we knew before we came here. It's not going to be pink and roses every day, sunshine.
right.
We are going to see some other stuff too. Sorry. And like receiving a cold. I got a
Yes,
cold, right? Yes.
that's
But
right.
it it's about how we interact with our shadows, right? Or what's happening, our response.
Hmm.
We can always say, okay, no, I can't do that. I'm going to sit like this because this happened to me or this happened to me. It can be from very rough and difficult and hard things to more easy things, right?
Hmm.
But it's always our response. How do I take this? Sometimes we may need assistance from someone to come through something, and that's not a shameful thing either. But we can always come out of it. We can come from the shadow, and when we have identified the shadow, then we can deal with it. So the blessing to see it, even if it's extremely uncomfortable sometimes, that is a bliss. It's a blessing.
It is a blessing, and the beauty is, and I had several weeks ago, I had another experience, an opportunity to reface a shadow part of myself that I had addressed seriously 5 years ago, and I thought that it had completely resolved, but it showed itself in a little different way. Now, 5 years ago, when I faced this shadow, it traumatized me so badly, uh, because there was a great deal of loss and a lot of things that I was feeling physically. And this time, when I needed to reface it, I was stronger. I had more self love. I realized that it no longer had power over me. And when I resolved it, it was like a rainbow. It was so freeing. It elevated me. There were
Yeah.
no tears. There was just accolades of, wow, I've really moved through this. And but this was a physical, it was a shadow that was here, but it was also in the physical world that I was dealing with. So I was dealing with it also from a lot of in my face type things. And sometimes you face those kinds of shadows, but that's okay. However, it did prompt me to do a lot of house cleaning this time. So there's a lot of cleaning going on.
Yeah, but you can see a house cleaning as a ritual as well, right? Because
Very
we
much
don't
so.
want to have
Clear
surround
the
ourselves
energy.
with a dirty environment.
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. And we the beauty about self-awareness, when you start loving yourself and you start becoming aware of what is going to work and what isn't going to work, you start realizing that incorporating to make it come to fruition, um, in order to have something that you're going to be building, sometimes there's a lot of chaos and a lot of turmoil to get it done. I mean, a sculptor looks at a piece of stone, and I love the way that this artist said he doesn't see what the stone is going to do, he listens to what the stone wants him to do. But you have to put the effort in, you have to put the work in. You can't just keep saying, I'll deal with that another day and deal with another day, because then it becomes a real full-blown hurricane, and it's much easier dealing with a couple of shadows than a angry hurricane.
Exactly. It is. And I think it's about understanding. It's a big part of understanding yourself and loving yourself, loving
Hmm.
yourself with your light and your shadows,
Hmm.
because we have them.
Yes, and they are there for a reason, because we came here. I feel my personal thing is we gave ourselves a lot of opportunities to have a lot of experiences in this lifetime,
Yeah.
because when we're looking at where we're going, and it looks so simple when we've got all of the heavenly hosts around us, and it's happy up there, and we think, oh, we can do this. Oh, why don't you throw in this tragedy, why don't you throw in this and everything, because we can overcome it. So with having the challenges of coming back to our true essence, our
Yeah.
authentic self,
Yes.
these experiences give us the opportunity to gain compassion, empathy, understanding. And instead of thinking them as an enemy, just think of them as something that is part of ourselves and we have to incorporate. Um, the night that I was going to become a Reiki master teacher, and that poem that I wrote, Becoming the Master. And one of the things that was in that, it said, I will face the dark side of myself and incorporate it,
Yeah.
and we will live together, you know? And that's about what it is with chasing
Yeah.
shadows.
And it is beautiful. And if there will be sunshine or light somewhere, there will be darkness and a shadow.
Absolutely. Shadows will not be created if there is not light. But adjusting the light,
Yes. I'm sorry.
as I'm finding doing this podcast, and I'm constantly going, okay, well, where is the light coming from? That's glaring and everything else. So adjusting the light gives you an opportunity to see more of the things that need to be incorporated, and not
Yes.
fearing the darkness.
No. And to be funny again here, yeah, we can be stubborn too, talking about myself, right? So I know I have a cough today, but I'm still going to be here. I'm going to show up.
That's right. And showing up is the whole thing, and loving yourself enough to show up, and loving yourself enough to take the time to do your inner homework. And
Yeah.
that's where the courage comes in, folks.
Yeah.
Is you
We
know
need to be courageous.
that's right.
And I just spent a day and a night at an old castle in Stockholm with other mediums. That was so interesting.
Oh yes, I
And if
imagine.
anybody wonders, yes, we could all sense something, right? I know I had a visitor in my bedroom during night, but I said, "Thank you for coming. I hear you, but this is my bedtime. It's sleeping hour for me." So, um, but it's you know, one could think that where I am right now, this would be challenging probably, or I need to do this and this and this and this to be able to do something like this, because it's 90 kilometers from Stockholm, so it wasn't very easy to go there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if we also have trust, we're not afraid of ask and send it out there. Sometimes that also means that maybe no one's going to answer, but we're still going to find a way.
Mhm.
And I did. I was so
That's
happy I went.
yes. And interestingly enough, when you constantly refuse help and or seek help, you're actually being selfish because you're not giving someone else an opportunity to maybe reach their potential. Now, somebody that's needy and always has to, oh, help these, fix me. No, no, those are not who we're talking about. We're talking about when you really can use some assistance to allow other people to be of service
Yes.
and give them the opportunity to do something beyond themselves. And
Mm.
it's amazing because there's a lot of times now I find that my supersonic me is now living a normal life and it seems like I'm in slow motion. But there's times I have no problem if I'm in a grocery store and there's somebody that's taller than me. The whole world is taller than me, so that's no problem. But there's always something on the top shelf that I need, and I have no problem just saying, "Sir, may I borrow your height?" Oh, certainly, they're very grateful to do that.
Mm.
However, I not only received the gift of someone helping me, but he now, or the person I ask, now has that little feeling of, I don't know where it's coming from, but that really felt good.
Yeah.
So it's wonderful to be able to let people be of service.
Yes. And I think that a lot of people, sensitive people, life workers, people who are walking this path because they feel so much. It's very common that we overdo it towards one end, right?
Hmm.
Being so taking care of everybody else, fixing everything, doing everything for everybody, but we don't dare to ask for help because we don't feel comfortable. But I think we need to start feeling comfortable,
Hmm.
right? For the
Yeah.
reasons you say, right?
For the reasons of no agenda, no ego, no prize at the end of the thing, and the same trying to rule a person's life by over helping them. It's called balance. It's called balance.
It is
You know,
called balance.
yes, it's
And
interesting. Go ahead.
it is very, very much different from the neediness. I need everybody to help me all the time. That's a very different thing.
Right. We're going to be talking about that coming
Yes.
up soon, right? Back to the shadow. There's a very ancient story, and it is about two wolves. And the student comes to the teacher and says, "How is it that I'm wanting to be good, but there's this part of me that wants to go out and do wild, crazy things?" And the master said, "Within each of us live two wolves, a black wolf and a white wolf. And they are constantly trying to gain the upper hand." And so the student says, "Well, how can I control them? What do I do? And which wolf is going to win?" The wolf you feed.
Yes, exactly.
So we know that we have that black wolf, but it can sit there sleeping until we really need the strength from it or need to learn something from it. But if you're constantly feeding the white wolf joy and positivity and creativity, then the other wolf will just sleep. But if you're constantly feeding the black wolf anger, fear, jealousy, uh, worry. Just worry will make that wolf just want more and more and more and more. So
Yes,
which one do you feed?
exactly. And it's all energy, right? So what are we feeding? Where are we putting our intention? And when we are feeding uh, the bad wolf, the energy we feel is negative within us, right?
Uh-huh.
Or sometimes maybe without us even thinking it, because we have been taught you're supposed to do certain things, you're supposed to act in certain ways. So that is a starter to start questioning.
That's
Why
that's
do
where it
I
is.
do this? I have something coming up for me, but why do I do it? Do I feel in alignment with this? I'm trying to ease it up for you, so you because you have a little bit of a problem too
Oh,
today.
we're playing cough therapy here. You
Yes,
cough, I
yes.
cough.
Sorry, but anyway, it's the awareness, and then it's our response. And our response: do I take this still as my own, or am I going to change? Because what we very often don't realize, we can change our way of responding, and
Uh-huh.
we can decide, no matter if we live with something for 50 years. Well, I don't believe in this way of doing it anymore, or this fear I have for
Hmm.
that certain thing, because it's not really mine, right?
And it's amazing how we will go shopping because something doesn't fit or it doesn't feel right on us, and yet when we're working with ourselves, well, that's the way I was taught, and that's the way I'm going to be, and what you see is what you get, and that's, I mean, how incredibly stuck and boring. you know, I mean, I really wouldn't want to live in an area where the scenery never changed, where the seasons never came, and I grew up in New Mexico, and it was a lot cooler than Arizona, but still, we had seasons. We actually knew when fall came because the leaves fell. We knew when spring came because everything grew. We knew when it was winter because we put on heavier clothes. And I come to Arizona, and it's kind of like a mono season. You have really hot, and you have a little bit cooler. And a couple of days we actually get down to where we people like you would be wearing short sleeves, and we put on our thermal underwear because it's such a
Yes,
drastic change. It's like uh, from a hundred points down to 50, and that's a big change for us. Where
it's a big change.
so you know, but change is what we are. We would not be the human beings we are now if there wasn't a lot of changes that happen in our bodies, in our minds. And you
Exactly.
we can change our
We
mind.
can change, and things we become aware of, that this is a shadow side of mine. The best way coming through is to deal with it, because otherwise we're going to put that wolf to sleep again, and it's going to come up another time, right?
Yes, it does. And uh, the joy is that as you get more mature, more stronger, more authentic, more loving, if it does show itself again, you have a totally different perception of yourself and how you can handle it. So it it's an ebb and flow, and we have all kinds of ways to overcome it. And I love the reframing that you said here, and changing, and there again, changing your perception, changing how you think about things.
Yes,
And oh, you
and
did
it
actually put in reframe the perception.
I think I did. It's
Yes.
yeah, I did. Because, we can always change everything. It doesn't mean it's going to come without effort.
That's
We
right.
always need to put in effort, but it's a joy to put in effort when we are knowing that I can break through this, right?
Uh-huh.
Many times we can do it alone. Other times maybe we need assistance. So don't be afraid of that. Having someone helping you coming through something,
Right.
because that also can help one to see. But the main point in a spiritual way of doing this is that you are digging out what you believe in, right? It's not
Mm-hmm.
about someone's opinions,
Nope.
because that's when we're going to go around in circles again.
Yep.
Find that answer in yourself, and we can all find it. I know that sounds like I have a big mouth, but I promise we can all find the answer, always.
That's very true. And one of the things that I have some people ask me sometimes is, well, how would you recognize if you've if a shadow is trying to overcome what you're doing? And some of the things that I found when I was doing a lot of this work is that you always choose the same kind of people to be around. Or in a relationship, you're always finding the same type of person. And they may have a different face and their activities may be a little different, but it's the same personality traits. So that indicates that you've got some shadows you might need to look into.
Yeah,
Also, when you get close to success and you sabotage it, something back here that you haven't addressed is saying, well, you can't really do that. um, Rich people don't get into heaven. um, People are going to talk about you. All of these things that we don't even realize that are buzzing around in the back of our head, once we start seeing success and everything, we go, oh, well, maybe I need to change this, and all of a sudden, boom, it's gone.
exactly. Um, it's For many, it may feel challenging to even start to see, to observe and watch yourself, but at the same time, most people have this longing. I want to know myself. It's an
Exactly.
urge coming from very deep within.
Hmm.
And we've said many times before that the most important relationship you have is the one with yourself. And that means loving yourself enough to accept your flaws and shadow sides as well, right?
Right. Yes. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to, there again, have that attitude, well, this is me and I'm going to be an SOB just
No, no, no,
because,
no, 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 no,
it
no.
means you have to address them, and you shine them up, you clean them, you rearrange them, and uh, so we can do this. And all of these aspects are coming from our own self. They're not necessarily that we said, okay, now I'm going to be this kind of a bad person, or this or this or this, but our life experiences and our prejudice and our perceptions and other people's ideas that have formed us.
Yeah,
But we can change.
yes. And I have something intriguing to talk about actually. A common theme, someone mistreated me and I so badly want revenge. That is a shadow side.
That's a shadow.
Yeah.
That's a
So
shadow.
why do I want to have revenge? Because the minute I would act on revenge, I lowered myself to a level where I really don't want to be, right?
Hmm. And there also, it comes in the need to have to be right.
Exactly.
And I had a very simple thing happen. I needed to return something, and because I have a very much of an engineering mind and scientific mind, I realized that the container that to put this battery in was too small. I mean, you literally need to have a hammer to beat in the battery. Now, I've been putting batteries in things for many, many, many,
Many
many
years.
years. And therefore, I also know that you got to put the right size battery. So I go down and immediately they look at me and assume I don't know what I'm doing. Well, did you put the right battery? Yes, ma'am, I did. Well, it goes right in here. And I said, yes, it does. And I said, but you can see that it the battery is too big for where it's supposed to go. No, it's not. And then they shoved the other battery in. Well, guess what? There's this little ribbon that you put in these things because you're never going to get that battery, that first battery out unless you can pop it out. So today I get to go down and say, may I speak to somebody that will at least listen to me? But the need to be right, the need to
Yeah,
be on top, the need to be superior, that's a shadow that people aren't even aware is part of their personality.
exactly. And there comes another shadow. When I have the need to be right, I also have the need to, my goodness, I lost it. I'm getting mature. I also have the need to, no, I expect things from others because I am right.
That's
Expectations.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct. You know?
So it's a chain of things. And why do I have these expectations, for instance, on others? Where are they coming from? Why do I have the need to be right? Why do I feel that I am entitled to have revenge?
That's right. And that's a good way to put that. Why do I feel that I have the right and entitlement to
Yeah,
impose what I feel should be, from my perspective, the way to do it? And once we start loving ourselves, once we start having an awareness of the greatness of ourselves, I think we begin to understand that there is no competition out there. There's just all of us light beings that are having this physical experience. And it's so much grander to just meet the person where they are. And unless it comes to having something that works and getting something that works, you don't
exactly.
need to, but you can do it in a way that you're not in the other person's face. I mean, I have the choice of going in there angry, waving at, they were rude to me the other day, or saying, how can we resolve this? Because I really want this little gadget. And I've been thinking about this gadget for a long time. And I'm very disappointed that the gadget is not working. And all I want is the gadget to work. I mean, I'm not trying to
Exactly.
conquer a country here. I just want my gadget to work. So
Mhm.
changing my perception on how I will interact with these people is going to make uh, a win or a lose for both of us. So
Yes, it is. And once in a while, we all end up sometimes talking about myself, like Donald Duck in a cartoon, right?
uh-huh.
Ah,
Hey, listen, but that's part of our living also. It's just what we do with that anger afterwards. Whether we
it
go
is.
"Grr," and
Yes,
get it out of our system or we start throwing things. I mean, there again, you know.
exactly. But I think this world contains many expectations and many, okay, I'm expecting something. I'm expecting, for instance, I'm using you and me now, um, Corinne to call me today. She didn't call me. Um, why didn't she call me? Some people turn that on themselves, right?
Hmm.
Um, there's something wrong with me.
Uh-huh.
Other people can be acting differently, you know.
Yeah.
Shame on Corinne or whatever. I don't never understand. I'm not going to call her again. revenge, right?
Exactly.
I'm
Exactly.
going, I'm going to get back on her for that. But it's usually, not one or the other. We are human beings here while here.
And maybe that day I realized that my bank was overdrawn. I mean, you don't know what I'm dealing with. You're just picking up
Exactly.
those words. And I had a situation where I was going to be meeting with someone, and it was not going to be right for me. It was not going to fit. It was not going. So I informed this person, it's just not going to fit at this time. And I thought I had given enough of the, and you hate to do this isn't about you, it's about me, because that just that shuts the
Yeah.
mind off. But really, it had nothing to do with that person or that person's action or lack of action. It was where I was coming from. Fortunately, they recontacted me and said, "Is it something I did?" I said, "Not at all." And I said, "I apologize that I didn't convey that more easily, but um, at least we resolved it. That
Mhm.
it wasn't vengeful, or it wasn't against you, or you're wrong." And that's when you can come above those feelings and then
Yeah.
try to find out what it is, because you can lose a lot of valuable friendships just because you assumed that it was
Yes,
one way or
exactly.
another.
Yes, exactly. And when we don't feel like we do really get it or understand why, we can talk about it without pushing ourselves on the other person as well, right? Because
Yes.
that's also going to be that's going to be a part of, well, I'm right and I want to know the answer. Sometimes, though, in life, for all of us, we don't necessarily get all the answers.
Nope.
How do we deal with that, Kareem?
Well, that happens more often than not. And one of the philosophies that I've kind of picked up on is it will reveal itself in divine timing. If it's something that I really need to know, then I will be given the answer to it. And in the meantime, just accept it as it is what it is. And I hate using that expression, but that's really true in a lot of times, that meeting a person where they are and not expecting them to perform it how we think they should to make us feel better, and just understanding that it will resolve itself in another way, rather than getting all fiery and I was wronged and I've got to set this right and I want to know why. Many years, especially when I started becoming more aware that I had more to do, and that awareness didn't start until, I mean, it wasn't really clear until I was in my 40s. And then all of a sudden, this information that's coming to me, that this is what I actually came here to do. And I'm going, but guys, we could have started when I was in my 20s. This human body might live to be 100, but I mean, unless you got magic to work here. And I kept questioning, why would they be giving me this assignment at this ancient time?
Fine. Mm.
And I finally realized that everything that I needed to be able to take this journey needed to be taken care of. Again, divine timing.
Yes,
and
exactly.
and allowing a person to be where they are and understand that where they're coming from, that's where they are, and I shouldn't demand that they try to be something they aren't to make me feel better.
Exactly. They are eventually going to walk their path and coming to what they want, right?
Exactly.
But my timing is not necessarily your timing, right?
Absolutely. And that
Yes,
is, we talked about that last week, and that is so incredibly true. and
it is
uh,
true.
and I think a lot of times uh, finding our true potential in dealing with the aspects of our self that maybe are unresolved or unprocessed. And unprocessed is a big thing. Maybe they just haven't, matured enough that we can deal with them as they need to be dealt with. But first of
Exactly.
all, know that they exist and realize they can no longer hurt you. So the
Yeah,
wounds or tragedies or whatever you've had, that can't hurt you in the now. But we can release that and love yourself more than needing the shadow.
exactly. You know, what you said about the past, no, it can't hurt us unless we do invite it. And that's what we do many
Yep.
times, right?
Yeah.
But I have a different way usually to when we are transforming things, right? I mentioned is that energy. So if I having a certain thought pattern, you could call it in a more negative way, right? I can't succeed. I'm not good at this. I can't do it. Things of that nature. The same because every energy has a polarity. I'm sorry. So sorry. And there's always a different pole. So why not try to teach yourself to turn what you're saying to the different polarity? Sorry.
That's okay. Yes, I understand what you mean. And there again, the magic of the words. And we did a talk on this, and taking a I can't do this into I am able to accomplish everything that I choose to accomplish. That doesn't mean that right now that's happening, but changing the energy around it. And this is the magic of the words that we have. And one of the things that I also found is to be impeccable with your speech, and
Yeah.
especially when we're talking about ourselves. Like the other day I came to you, and my hairdo was not doing what I wanted to do. So I kind of said, well, it's a hair don't today, and it was having its own, and that was perfectly fine for there. Also, accept the fact that when you're dealing with this, you're doing the best you can at
Yes.
that particular moment. And
Yeah.
maybe that best isn't what you think it should be, or maybe you didn't come to the conclusion that you had hoped to be. But the next time, your best is going to be better. Today, our best is a little nasally,
Yeah.
very
Exactly.
very sexy voices with these colds we have. Um, But that doesn't mean that we're not giving our best.
No, we do give our best. And by the way, who is determining what is how things should be? Who determines?
We do because we listen to other people's opinions, you know?
Exactly. Should we?
Uh, Even the good intentions of other people's are none of our business.
Exactly.
So
Well said.
that was a Wayne Dyer quote, and and that is really really true. That I mean, we're kind of trained that the negative stuff we kind of ignore, but also their good intentions. Uh, for instance, I had a very good intending aunt. Oh, well, you should grow up and you should, you know, not try to be a doctor. You have problems with studying. Oh, and she kept lowering my expectations of myself, thinking that she was protecting me. So
Yeah.
even her good intentions. And finally, I said, you know what? Thank you for your intentions, but my intentions have a whole different look. So,
Exactly.
yeah,
And feeling gratitude for who we are and what we can.
you always the attitude of gratitude is like your go-to. every day in
every day.
every way. And
Yes,
uh, I have a little routine that I like to go out early in the morning and sit in my yard and meditate. And the first part of that is my attitude of gratitude. I'm grateful for the bed I slept in. I'm grateful for the covers that covered me during the night. I'm grateful for the AC that kept me cool. I'm grateful for the trees and the water and the plants. And I go through my whole list of what I am grateful for.
yes,
And speaking of gratitude, um, the water project, I think I didn't say that right, but blesses the water. Every month they have an 8-day meditation for blessing the water. And it's
yes,
beautiful. They show you beautiful pictures of water, and then they have plant music, meaning the plants made the music. And it's such a great way to be grateful for something as magnificent as the bloodline in our
mm,
bodies. Without water, nothing on earth would exist without water.
exactly. I sound like I need a little bit of that, right? I actually found it on Facebook, so I can share it with everybody here, right?
That would be great. And we're in the fifth day of 8 days, and they do all the heavy lifting. All you have to do is sit there, look at these beautiful pictures, and be grateful, and listen to this beautiful harmonic music that literally is the sound of the earth, and just reconnect. Just take that moment to be grateful.
Yes.
And oh,
And
you
there's no matter what life looks like, and I sound like I've had a very easy life. No, I did not.
know,
I walked in mud like everybody else, and I know you have too.
yes,
But there's every single time there's always sometimes it's just a stain. There's always something to be grateful for. So
always,
let's focus on that stain until we can broaden it and make it bigger.
absolutely. I mean, I met a monk, a Buddhist monk, that he was captured when he was 17 years old, and he spent 20 years being tortured in that prison he was in. And when he got out, he wrote a book about how every day he found something he could be grateful for, and even if he was grateful that he had survived what had been done to him, he was grateful. And it was the most beautiful book. And I actually had an opportunity to actually meet him. In fact, I still have I have this. I don't know if you can see it. It's just a little
Yes,
wristband.
yes,
And how that survived the fire in my house, I don't wear it, so I don't know how it survived the fire. But
it
I
did.
still have this, and I'm looking how he could be grateful in the direst of circumstances when all it takes me is to just take a deep breath and appreciate. And
Yeah.
that can change the chemistry in your body.
You know, um, monitoring when we are using the negative sides of us and the positive side it is really essential because that's when we become aware. Yes, it can feel uncomfortable. You are catching yourself many times with things you don't want to see in yourself. But how can you make the change you want to make without having the awareness of what you are doing in certain situations? So it is a blessing, right?
Yes, yes, because if you're not aware, like my car the other day said, you need to change the oil. Now, if I had not been aware that the car needed to change its oil. The oil would have clogged up my engine and I would have had problems. Being aware that something needs to be addressed and doing it openly and saying that's okay. I need to address this aspect of myself. I need to love myself enough to be creative. I need to love myself enough to trust my own intuition. And these are shadows too that keep us from doing it. I need to face the fact that I am worthy of being successful in what I do.
Yeah.
And and doing the homework, you can't just sit there and go, okay, it's going to happen because I'm a good person. I mean, a seed has the potential to become, but it still has to go into a dark place.
Yes.
It still has to navigate around rocks and say hello to the little earthworms and then kind of stick its little head out and check and see, oh, well, this might be nice, and then it starts growing even more. You can't do this without effort.
No. You know, it's not going to fall in our lap. We
No,
need to take action and we need to work on ourselves and do the job, look within, but also
yeah,
love ourselves, you know. This is who I am. I am not what everybody told me I am. I am what I'm discovering. I
exactly.
am that I am, right?
That's right. Exactly. And when you do it with love and joy, uh, those are kind of like your shield and your protection, because when you're going into something like uh, I decided to clean out a shed that's been sitting there collecting stuff for 10 years. Now you can use your imagination as to what was in that shed. But I adorned myself with gloves. I put no, I didn't put my mask on. That's why I'm a little nasally today, because in Arizona we have tons and tons of dust. However, I prepared myself knowing I was going to do that. And I did it. And it was arduous work. But you know what? The feeling and grandeur is so worth it. It's like when I dealt with that situation that I had partially dealt with 5 years ago. I can only tell you that if you really choose to do this and be honest with yourself and be authentic with yourself, how you feel afterwards is it's like a breath of fresh air. It's like seeing a rainbow for the first time. It's like coming out of
Yeah,
a place that you didn't even know was shielding you from seeing what you could.
exactly.
It's worth the trip, people. It really is worth the trip.
It is worth the trip. And once we have the courage to take that route, we realize how valuable it is, right?
Yes.
I'm sorry, my voice is really bad, but I'm here.
That's okay. You've only got 2 more minutes and you can sit there and nod your head if you wish. Because I understand. I'm getting a little more nasally too, but we
I know.
are we are the best we can be, and that's all. We are here in joy. We are here in love. We are here for everybody listening. We are hoping that our little experiences and our words might open up a possibility for you, because our
Yes.
stories are our stories, but maybe they can put a key in the door to your stories, and then
Yeah.
you grow and
Inspire.
bloom and inspire and everything. So
Yeah, and that's one of the most beautiful things there is, isn't it?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So, sorry, just one more.
One more. You sneeze so gently. I mean, I shake the house when I sneeze, and
I shake the house too, but I mute myself. Okay, that was funny, right? So, how do you feel? Do you feel we are kind of ready today?
I do. I feel we've touched on well everything that I had available here, and there's always more. But the beauty is that we have said to the universe, we're here, we're going to do it. And by the way, and I say this with earnest, every time we plan a show, honest, honest, last night there was this whole thing on shadows
Yes,
and facing your shadow. It's like the universe is supporting us by saying, hey girls, you're gonna go out and you're gonna open this subject up, so we're gonna help you, and here's this and and every time we do it, like we were talking about perceptions, all of a sudden the night before, all about perspective and perceptions, and
yes.
it's as if the universe goes, oh, hey, we got somebody that's going to be opening their mouth about it, let's put this in. It all works together.
Everything always works together. That's synchronicity. Everything is synchronized.
I don't apologize. I'm just a little kid, and I get excited about just having the experience of being on this marvelous journey. And I fall and I stub my toes and I fall over and I get knocked down. But you know what? It's the joy of what is there. So I
It
love
is
it.
the joy of what is. And, it gets, when we walk this path, it feels like we are climbing a big, huge mountain in the beginning, right?
Uh-huh.
But then we adjust and we change perception. We
Yeah.
change our view and we come into ourselves and we dig deeper and we respond differently to life.
Yep.
So it's worth it.
It's worth it. And uh, it's amazing because when we first come into life, everything is glorious and wonderful. And then we're taught that life has, and then we spend all of these years struggling. And then finally we get to this age and we go, wow, gee whiz, let's have fun again. Let's just look at things as they come. And if there's mud, we're going to make mud pies. And don't worry about it if we get our hands dirty. And that's why I'm forever in that awe of childlike amazement.
Yes.
And
And keeping our inner child and or the child we are deep down
yes,
here. Why not? We
why
need
not?
it.
You know, I mean, it's just, well, I think I've about worded out here. I don't know about you.
I think I'm grateful too. So anyway, we are so happy. It's our passion to be here and inspire. That's why we're doing this. And like everything else, everybody can take what resonates with them, right? And how you feel is going to bring you further along your journey, not up and down, further along.
Yep.
Because it's important and everybody can do it. We are all worthy. We can all do anything we want, but in our own unique way, right?
Yes.
So,
And I had an interesting thing, and I mean, when it came to me, it sounded really great. But I'm going to say it, and if it sounds corny, that's okay too. But when we're doing the homework, when you're doing it. And it's just like give it its due so you don't have to stew.
Yes, exactly.
You know?
That's a good one.
So it just I was speaking with one of my clients and that came out and I'm learning now to jot these things down because they may seem silly, but it really is true. If you just do the homework, then you're not going to have to stew about it. It's done.
Exactly. Anyway, I'm thinking of starting to wrapping it up. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
So we are thrilled you have been watching Cosmic Sisters at Cosmic Guardians with host Alan Corrine, my beautiful, unique Corrine, from the entire cosmos out there. Wonderful. We have been talking about shadows to sunshine, transforming negative thoughts into positive perspectives. And that's, you could say, transforming shadows into light,
Uh-huh.
right? Or bringing light on them so we
Green light.
become aware of them. Yes.
Green light.
Next upcoming show here on Cosmic Guardians is going to be Friday, October 18th, and I hope my voice is better. I don't know if you will honor us with your presence. If you do, I will be delighted, but I know you're busy. It's going to be Friday, October 18th in US and Europe, and October 19th in Australia. The Bob Eden, the Spiritual Mechanic show, and host Bob and Ann, and possibly Corinne as well, right? Discussing the first 7 years. And I think it's connected to our childhood, our first years. How does those years affect us? It's very important. Plus your questions, of course. Sorry. And our next show with Cosmic Sisters is going to be next Wednesday, October 23rd in US and Europe, and October 24th in Australia. We will talk about embracing the pulse, the art of heart-centered living. Yes,
Oh yeah.
how about that?
Oh yes.
And um, anyway, we do go live at facebook.com/Cosmic Guardians, trying to talk fast as usual, right? youtube.com/at Angel Place on Earth. And you are so welcome to watch us next week, and we hope to see you. I say love, light, peace, and joy. What do you say, Kareem?
Love, light, peace, and laughter.
Wow. Bye.
Bye bye.